Saddam.
Hi, Saddam. How you doing?
There was a delightful conversation going on. As soon as you heard recorded, you went, "Oh, be quiet." How are you all doing?
Great.
Good. And who are you? Who's here?
Sadhna.
Hi, Sadhna. Welcome.
Hi.
And
Suzanne.
who else is here?
Suzanne.
Suzanne, welcome. And
Hi.
who else?
Tina
Guruatma.
Pendleton.
Hi, Guruatma. Welcome. And who was the other voice?
Tina
Mary.
Pendleton.
Oh, Tina. Hi. Welcome, dear.
Hi. Thank you.
And who else?
Mary.
Kumari.
Mary.
Okay, Kumari. Was that right?
Yeah.
Welcome. And Mary.
Thank you.
Welcome. Who else is here?
Harimander.
Hi, Harimander. How you doing?
Doing well.
Oh, good. Oh, listen, don't forget, in a little bit I'm going to ask you to talk about Lucinda, okay?
Okay.
Okay. And who else? Anybody else here? Is Sophie here? Okay. Well, let's just give it another minute or so. Does somebody have a nice little story that they would like to tell us? I know. Sadnakar, will you tell us about your harvest?
Oh, my harvest is so abundant. And I'm learning about the medicinal properties of garlic. And
Like
and
what?
I have, well, that they each have are loaded in a different way for different things.
You mean
and
each variety of garlic?
Each variety, yeah. I have 8 varieties and 500 of them. And the last one that I'm stringing on strings today later is called Fireball.
Whoa. And what's that good for?
It is good for intense heat and
send me
flavor.
some.
Yeah. And it's kind of like camphor. You know how it works like that. It goes really fast. It's really good kindling fuel, you know, like.
How interesting.
That's how I describe it.
Good. Do you take all of these internally, and you can put them in your spaghetti sauce and they'll help you?
Yes. Some I cook. Some are too. Some are mild, and you can just eat them like an apple. You know, just not very much.
Oh my gosh.
But you can nibble it and not, you know, have the steam coming out of your head. But they all have a different life force. It's really beautiful. And I'm getting really familiar. They're like my companions for the last few months of who I'm talking with in the plant land.
Oh, my gosh. And so do you feel these healing qualities when you're harvesting them?
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
It is so direct. It is so delightful. I really recommend anyone.
Oh, wonderful.
It's so beautiful. Yes, that is truly a blessing.
I love that. Thank you so much, Sadhna. Such a good way to start off.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, who else has just come on?
Hi, this is Kathy in Alaska.
Kathy, Alaska, welcome. And who else?
Amrit. Rahmane and Tomas.
Hi, Amrit, welcome, dear. And Rahmane and Tomas, welcome.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Yeah.
And Narayan Kaur in Anchorage.
Oh, Mariah and who else?
Oh, it's Narayan Jot.
Oh, Narayan Jot in
Anchorage.
Anchorage. Welcome, dear. And who else is here? Okay, well, I think we're ready to start. Okay, so now please sit straight. Oh, no, wait a minute. Before we do that, Honey Mundakar, would you tell us about Lucinda? Lucinda, who is a member of our group, but a couple of years ago she got slammed in jail due to a false accusation. Okay, Honey Munder?
and she's been in jail and undergoing lots of challenges for the last couple of years, but she finally, the appeals board finally ruled last week, and they have negated the lower court decision that she was guilty. So she was supposed to be out this week, and then it goes back to her original court, and they can choose to retry it or just drop it, which I suspect that they're going to do. So that's what she's out and available to her garden and to her community, and it's really nice.
Are we grateful or what?
Yeah.
Wow.
God bless. I when she can join us again, I would love for her to tell her story about what she's learned, how she's transformed, and so on. God bless. Thank you so much, dear.
Surely.
Hello?
Hi.
I'm here. Yes, I'm having technical problems, but I can hear you.
Oh, wonderful. We're so glad to have you, Sophie. And Sophie asked that I would tell people that you have cerebral palsy. And that's so. We are so happy to have you, dear. Welcome.
Yeah, I'm happy too.
Good. She's a member on our Facebook page. And if you all just become a member on our Facebook page, and you will see all these delightful conversations going on. And that's at facebook.com/groups, GROUPS/Soul Answer. Okay, so let's get going. So bring your palms together at the center of the chest. Long, deep breath.
Oh, so far.
Relax into your third eye point. Relax into your third eye point. Okay, it sounds like somebody is sort of fiddling with their sound equipment, and we can hear that. Huh? Okay. So now, long deep breath. Palms together at the center of the chest, and inhale to begin. Long deep breath from the belly through the nose. And now begin heart breath. That is long deep breath And on the exhale, feel as though the air is coming out of your heart center. That is actually healing energy. Please let it expand your own heart. Enjoy it. Good. Expand your own heart. Good. And now please send this beautiful energy to everybody in our Soul Answer tribe. Everybody who's on this call and who will be listening to this. And definitely include Lucinda and her situation right now, with the intention that all the charges are dropped. Good. And now please send your beautiful healing breath, your healing pavan. Please send it to all of those families, that whole community in Aurora, Colorado, and all the grief and horror from the whole world community. And of course, also send this beautiful healing breath to Syria for their grief and horror. And also with the intention of a good, strong, quick and timely resolution. Good. Keep going, even deeper and stronger. Good. And inhale. And exhale. Okay, does everybody hear this kind of scratchiness here?
Yes, it's me. I'm sorry. I'm having problems. I'm just going to mute myself.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do you know how to do that with *6?
What? No, but I'm going to do it from my computer.
Oh, okay. That's very clever.
You won't hear me?
Okay, and when it's time for you to talk at the end, then you can unmute yourself.
Everything worked perfect yesterday.
It's still perfect, Sophie.
Yeah, of course. Okay. Sorry about that.
Right. Okay. Okay, so now I'm asking who is here? Well, the answer is all the saints and angels. Okay. What a blessing. Just feel that, all the saints and the angels. He says, Baba Siri Chand says, yes, you are in the wonderland of all the saints and the angels. He says, I know your conditioning is that you don't belong here. He says, that's a load of you-know-what. He says, you are not separate from the choirs of saints and angels. He says, no way, Jose. He's saying that you are fully informed, and each important messengers, according to your own destiny, according to your own birthright. He says, within this continuum of saints and angels. He says, continue heart breath and just feel this now. He says, you are not separate from. He says, you are so cute because you were also humbled and wide-eyed by this expression, by this understanding. He says, just move into this circle. He says, each one of you, he says, we're all in a circle now, and he says, each one of us who has a body right now is alternating in the circle with various saints and angels. Okay, he says, and we're all holding hands. He says, just feel that. He says, yes, this is a kumbaya moment. You with all the saints and the angels. Please breathe with this. Heart breath. He says you might even want to put your hands in the position of holding. He says, understand that as you do this, he says there is an electric current moving through all, moving around the circle, as becoming one huge turbine of energy. He says, you know that great, huge nuclear reactor in Switzerland and France? He says that has nothing on what this group is. Keep up the breath. He said, this is a true picture, this is a true expression of the way it really is. He says, you have to understand that we are not up here in heaven and you are down there stuck lonely on earth with total separation. He says, no. He says, we are of one being, we are of one mass. He says, we have all come here as a group, as a working, he calls it an embolism, which is a blood clot of light, of darkness coming to light. Sir, why'd you call it an embolism? He says, because there is a huge flow going on here. We are raising the flow, he says, but in order to pierce the flow, he says it is important for us to slow down our energies so that we may amalgamate with you, so that we may be of one energy. He says, since you have entered your human body, he says, the energy is, or the vibrational rate is slower. He says, so now we are all coming to a unified condition. He says, please feel that. Use your breath and know that. Feel this beautiful energy moving through the circle. He says the combined, the unified heart is in the middle of the circle. It encompasses the circle. Understand that. Feel it. He says nobody's left out here. Nobody's left out. He said this is what it means to be light workers. He says we are all trained very carefully, very heavily in being light workers. He He says, please take your place, he says, on center stage. Sir, what do you mean by that? He says, please do not try to jump out of who you are anymore. He says, now is the time for you to take total and full recognition of who you are. He says, you are such a blessing to the planet. You are such a kindness to the planet. And he says they are all in deep appreciation that you would take on this role, take on this task of joining forces with the angels and the saints as you join forces with the great collective here on earth. He says, understand, we're talking about dropping the barriers, dropping the imagined barriers, dropping the opinionated barriers. Keep up the breath, please. To become as one heart, to become as one unit, as one mechanism. He says it is pure connection. He says you, on this path, you keep hearing that all is one. He says, this is it. This is it. Please keep up with it. He says the other person is you. He says you certainly have heard Yogi Bhajan say that over and over. He says the first of the Aquarian, what are those things? Aquarian sutras. The first of the Aquarian sutras. Keep up the breath. Feel the energy flowing. Pure, great. Have confidence in the knowledge that flows through it. And that you have access to it. He says, please allow yourself to be both heaven and earth as you understand it. Allow yourself to be heaven and earth simultaneously. Allow yourself to feel the great structure. He says, you may feel that the structure is rigid. He said, it is not. It is absolutely permeable. He says, sometimes it is your own fear of approaching that power that makes it feel as though the door is closed. He says, today, my dear ones, he says, you are going to allow your psyches to open the door to allow the great freedom and the flow. Please do it now. He says, and any fear that comes up, he says, please transmute it. Please just give it to us. He says, it is important that you rest in absolute humility. Give your fear to humility. He says, yes, you are stepping into the great unknown. He says, not the great unwashed. He says, the great unknown. He says, it's purity. He says, don't get worried about getting fried by the power, the light, the transformative principles or aspects of the great unknown. He says, with every breath, let go your tenseness, let go your tightness. When he talks about the unknown, he is really talking about the unknown. He says, but what happens in the great unknown is that you live totally simultaneously, heaven and earth. He says, and at every second is a joy of affirmation, of creation. In the moment, all is created. He is inviting you to consciously move into that experience. In this place of the great unknown, he says, allow preconceptions to drop. to fade. He says, those are illusions. Those are illusions. He says, yes, I know, these are the circumstances that you live by in the earthly state. He says, they are profound, and I totally respect them. He says, but now he's asking you to go to the place of the great unknown and understand that you can bring you as who you are in your consciousness as you live in the persistent unknown. Allow the wisdom, allow the consciousness, allow the, what you might call the creativity of the moment, allow the lesson, so to speak, allow the action, the knowing to occur to you in that second. He says live in that second, and from that root power, that root knowledge that flows through the great unknown at every second. Let it penetrate any habits of illusion that we have that are based in our limited time and space self. He's not putting down our limited time and space self. He's just inviting us to live from the great unknown, from the pure source at every moment within the time and space. Allow this to occur. Use your breath. When you do this, he says the creativity is so great that if you actually thought too much, in other words, if you judged it too much, you could not accept the great unknown. He says, which is what often happens. Now he's asking you to take the great leap and live from the present, the presence of the present. Allow yourself. It is beyond courage. It is beyond wisdom. He says it's pure sanctity. He says, if you have ever danced to the music and gone into the zone that you are simply moving to the music, there is nothing between you and the music. The music is the power that moves you. He says, this is the experience of living in the great unknown. This is who you are. This is who you are as your divinity. It is the great dance to live as the great unknown in this time and space. He says, do you see how marvelous that is? How cozy it is? What a beautiful experience that is. He says, feel the music of it. Feel the music of it. And he says, as you do this, please drop old opinions that come from, the culture, former experiences, your societal paradigms. He says, when the experience of the wisdom comes through you, he says, you will be surprised. He says, we're not asking you to run naked in the streets. He says, we are taking all those considerations. He says, we are coming from the wisdom. He says, the unknown knows about how to be, how to present yourself, how to move through the societal norms. And in many cases, when you move from the unknown, this quality may be imperceptible to others, but you will find that the way you talk, the way you move is so subtle. It is so down to earth. It makes so much sense. that those who have the heart to hear will feel that truth pounding within them. You will love to live this truth because nothing else satisfies you. If at this stage of your development you do not live from that unknown, you will find yourself parched and dying in a desert, a dry desert. He says it will be just too painful for you. He says implicit nourishment comes through you, for you, with you, as you live in this place. He says, I call it a place just for convenience. This vibration, this consciousness that we call the unknown. He says, but it takes steadiness to do that. Steadiness. He says, it is not stationary steadiness. He says, you know when you spin a top, he says it holds its own until it slows down. He's talking about us as vibratory creatures, increasing our vibratory rate through our sadhana, through our conscious connection, through our holding our hands and our hearts with the angels and the saints, living as your own precious soul in this time and space. He says that is your pleasure. That is your purity. That is your guidance. Nothing is more satisfying. There is no vitamin or herb that can match it. He says, sorry, sadhana, it even goes beyond your garlic. He says, it is such a blessing to live in that consciousness. He says, and this consciousness is your garlic. You live in that ecstasy at that time. He said, it is the purity of the moment. The purity of the moment and the exquisite connection as all at every moment. He says, yes, I know you have to concentrate here and there. I know you have to, you don't live in a state of chaos. He says, I know that as humans in time and space, it's important to use your reason. It is important to use your defining powers to figure things out as 1, 2, 3. He says, we know that. He says, but you can still be in the pervasive unknown as you do that. He says, you can. Do it now. He says, do it now by first focusing your reason. He says, it's like a different brain muscle. He says, focus your reasoning. Maybe you've been figuring out something in your life, figuring out a project, figuring out what to do for somebody. He says, please use that figuring power right now. Keep up your breath. Become focused. Good. He says, and now, staying in that figuring power, immerse it into this great unknown. You're not giving up your figuring power, but you are immersing it in the great unknown, the expansiveness, this place of joy that is shared by all the angels, saints, and you. He says this joy is an uplifted contentment. He says one name for it is Charity Kala, uprising spirit. This happens, he says, when you combine the great, he calls it the authority of knowledge, of implanted wisdom in you, when you combine that with your everyday world, with your own figuring power, with your own spirit. When you combine them, you rejoice in them. And you call this divinity on earth, you call it Charity Kala, rising spirit. Now, staying in this focus of figuring from the mind, allowing it to expand, be sourced in the full expansion of the unknown. In other words, allowing total relaxation and reception. Continue the figuring. And let the understanding, the movement, let it move through you. It says through every corpuscle of the figuring. And be very aware of the solutions that arrive. Very aware of the solutions that arrive. And don't throw them off just because you might not have heard them before. He says this is the pure creativity. The pure creativity. Feel the blessing. Feel the gratitude. Gratitude for simply swaying in the blessing. He says, be very conscious of your holding the hands of the saints and the angels. And the movement of the energy, the movement of the wisdom, the knowledge, and what you call creativity, flowing as one great river, one great voice. No separations. Just have it all flowing together. He says, like when you make a cake and you mix everything up. He says, you know it's ready when everything is mixed into one ingredient. Keep up the breath. Yes, and now, in that condition, spread your light. Spread it through the collective. Let it flow through the collective. Keep it up. He says, do you see that you are providing a burst of beauty, a burst of light through the collective? He says, you do this as one united being, all who are holding hands, whether you have a body, whether you don't have a body. Oh, my goodness. So many beings have joined us. So many beings, both with bodies and without bodies, have joined us. One enormous circle of energy. You are the presence. You are the oneness with so many aspects. He says it's like a sea of sequins. He says each one is sparkly, but oh my, as they sparkle together, what a beautiful resonance there is. What a beautiful resonance. What a beautiful light. He says you are precious. You are precious and you have joined. You are joined. There is no question. He says, no question as might relate to your past. Am I an insider or am I an outsider? Do I do it this way? Do I do it that way? No. You are joined. It's beyond judgment. It's beyond worry. You are. Keep up the breath. You are. In this sense, you are is the same as I am. I am is this total consciousness. is not separate consciousness. It is the total consciousness. He says, please breathe that through your whole body, through your whole mind, through your whole exponential energy system. This is who you are. He says, what a blessing. What a blessing. Feel your presence now and understand what you have learned, what you have experienced, what you have gained, what you have joined. Understand it now. Let it reside within your own body and energy field and your psyche. Feel the pleasantness of it, the expansiveness of it. Good. And now, as is his custom, he is asking for people to please share their experience with us. Please share your experience. Who can come first?
Siri Gian, I can share.
Oh, I'm so happy. I've been missing you. Guru Ravi.
It is Guru Ravi. And it's just so amazing. Like all of these connections are so amazing. But as we went through it, I was hearing everything as you were saying it. Like a little bit before you said it, I was hearing it all, and I was asked to play the gong, and then the next thing that was said was become the vibratory rate. And as the vibrations in the spirit world and in us in the human body were coming into balance, it was so real. And it's still, I'm still feeling that. It's just, it's an incredible vibration inside. And then I was asked to get up and dance. And as I was dancing, you were talking about dancing, and it's like, this is just so cool. It was just...
You're tuned in, girl.
Oh, it was such an incredible experience, and I've been being led the last, I don't know, a while into this, still staying with aligning everything, I guess using the mind to... Like he was saying, 1, 2, 3.
Mm-hmm.
You figured that out, but at the same time, you're still in that mindset. You're still immersed in the unknown, and it's such a beautiful, calm, peaceful, wonderful way to be with the transformations that our mind is going through in this energy that we're in right now. It's so different. It's so peaceful, and it's not taking the mind away. It's not. An example is I'm getting ready to move to Dallas, and my daughter and I am, and my daughter and her 4 children and her husband. So it's been, something with everything else that feels like it's being placed in front of us with Meta and with Sarab Shakti and all of that. It feels like it's moving in this. Almost like when he was talking about I don't think the word tornado was used, but that's what I felt like. In the middle of all of us holding hands is this swirling, this energy, and this vibration that's coming to a hum.
Oh.
And all of that was just being sucked into this huge vortex and I was hearing the syncopated vortex of, I don't remember, something, the syncopated vortex of maybe it was the unknown. And just placing all of that in there felt like, okay, like this is all being taken care of. This is all so perfect and different than telling yourself this is perfect and I'm going to stay in the present moment. No, it was like I was sucked into it. Just
sucked into what?
Into this vortex. It was all of us sitting around holding hands.
Mhm. Mhm.
And the energy that created, and the vibration coming to a level of a hum. And at the same time, this peacefulness on the outside of the circle, and on the inside of the circle was all of this movement, and just everything was being pulled into that. And I don't even want to say transformed. It was beyond transforming. It was there.
Mhm.
And it was taken care of and held and loved.
How precious. Would you call that vortex of things happening, would you call that what we call creation?
Oh, yeah. Yes, that's very good. I kept getting the Shiva image, too, with all of that. Yes, I would.
Wonderful. And as you know, Yogi Bhajan called Baba Siri Chand, he called him an avatar of Shiva. So here we are with Shiva. Oh, can you explain who Shiva is?
Oh, wow.
Well, briefly,
Yeah, I think we think of Shiva as the dancer of the breaking apart, so that things can be built up again. So maybe like in a catabolic and anabolic, Shiva would be the catabolic. Taking
and what
things
does that
apart
mean,
so that they can be
the breaking
put back
down
together.
part?
Right, the breaking down part.
Wonderful.
But a very vibrant Shiva, I always feel the very vibrant blue energy of Shiva in the dance, and the dance is who I think of Shiva as.
Wonderful, wonderful. So we're all part of that dance now, huh?
Yes.
Good. Thank you so much, dear.
Thank you for this. This was just, no words can express it, but thank you. So grateful.
Well, and we are for you.
Oh.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Now, who else can share?
I can share, Siri Gian.
Oh, good. Who is this?
Rahmani.
Oh, yes, dear.
Well, as usual, I'm getting the kind of parallel visions or teachings or words in the Semitic stream of revelation. In the Kabbalah, and Kabbalah means to receive. So it's receiving of insight, information, vision. And it all starts above the head and comes into the crown chakra, and above the head is called the Ein Sof, which is the boundless emptiness, which is the unknown. So it's considered the source of all the information, comes in through the crown and then goes through the body through these various centers. And and I've just been realizing that what you're talking about, I think, was the initial understanding of the Gnostics and others of what the Trinity meant, that you have the unknowable, unknown, and then through the breath and the spirit, it becomes incarnated. And that's in all of us all the time. And as we become aware of it and work with it, then we become what was called Mashiach, anointed, consecrated to the fullness of the vision, and that's the Christ. That's what the word Christ in the Semitic languages means. It's that state of being awakened to our oneness with the limitless source through the miracle of breath or spirit.
How wonderful.
Yeah, and that whole, in Judaism, for the Hasids, who were kind of the ecstatic, mystical Jews, for thousands of years, they've had this vision of what they call the coming of the Messiah, the coming of Mashiach, and it has to do with the coming of the anointed consciousness globally to the point that it's manifesting as justice and generosity and kindness and cooperation throughout all the realms. So it's been something that's been longed for, yearned for, and it seems to me that in this time now, as we're shifting ages, we're actually experiencing it happening. And one of the last kind of big Rebbes, before he died, people thought he was the Messiah, and as he was dying, he was saying, no, it's the collective, it's all of us.
Isn't that incredible?
More confirmation. Yeah, it is. Beautiful.
Good.
And thank you.
And thank you, dear. We appreciate that.
Thanks.
Now, Edith, Hadiender, are you here? Hadiender? Oh, okay. Who else is here?
I'm here.
Oh, Sophie, yes, dear. Her name means wisdom.
I really liked what you said about the acidic. I'm fascinated with, am I coming out too loud? It's very...
No, we're fine. Go ahead.
Are you, I don't want anyone's ears to explode. And you
No,
think...
we're fine.
Okay. So what you said about the acidic and the Christ and all that things are things that I half from reading, but half from intuition, that are things that I've come to understand by myself.
Wonderful.
And it brought me troubles because I started arguing with one of my friends who is a priest. And so it's like, I have to, growing up, I was always, I was raised in a Catholic environment. And I was wondering, why would our religion be better than the others, right?
I always had that question too, Sophie.
But listen. But then I started falling in love with languages. And I said, aha! There are all languages, all religions are languages to speak to God.
There you go.
So, and it's very, all the rituals, it's simple. Don't forget the languages, the words are all symbols. And so the rituals in religions are all symbols as well. So that's where the idea of languages comes from. Now, I have two things to tell the group. Right now, well, don't take my words too literally, because it's a bit complicated to explain, but right now I kind of have been very estranged to group dynamics, okay? So to me, my experience with soul answers, it's like being thrown in a pool and having to learn to swim. So
but I'm sure you can swim very well with us.
But I think you have to understand that, and that I have to learn. Because there are things that I see coming from me, for me, but what I need you guys to do is first, it's as if I was a bit autistic in some ways, okay? At the same time, I've been told to tell you to be brutally honest with me, that I need that. I need people to tell me what they think and to not go lightly. I need that. That's what it's not it's nothing rational. I'm just trusting my feeling. But that's what I sense, that you guys, if there's something about me that falls on your nose or that you feel I should correct, or you just go ahead and say it. I'm very easy on, I'm used to that, and it's something that you can help me with. That's all basically I have to say.
Well, God bless you, dear. We're so happy to have you with us. And I always find your honesty, your pure and open honesty, to be so refreshing. And so we love that about you.
Well, it's the blessing of having a disability, and you cannot lie to yourself and say I'm quicker than any, at some point, reality jumps into your face, so you have no choice. Otherwise, you have to be honest with yourself first. I think being honest with oneself is a difficult part. Then being honest with others is easier once you're honest with yourself.
Did you say it's easier to be honest with others than with yourself?
No, yeah, I said once you're able to be honest with yourself, it's easy to be honest with others.
Yes, dear. That is true. That is true.
I'm going to go back on mute now to let you finish, but I'm still with you guys.
Well, bless you, dear. We are so glad that you are with us.
Bless you too, Siri, and the rest of the group. I'm very, you are, in my life in a week, it's I'm going to tell you something. I feel like I'm on a roller coaster ride, but at least the ticket is free.
You're so cute. That's true. We're all on it together. We're all on it together.
Bless you, everyone.
And thank you, dear. Bless you, too. Okay, so now we have come to the end of this session, and we totally appreciate Sophie and everybody who has shared verbally or simply participated. We love you all. So now, Kahar, is Kahar here? Oh, we miss her. She is working hard for 3HO, and, well, we'll just send her love. So now, please put your palms together. Long, deep breath. And still, we are in this beautiful circle with all the angels, saints, and other beings. Understand that. Feel that. Know that. And with this Shiva presence, this Christ presence. And inhale to begin. May the long-time sun shine upon you. All love surround you. And the pure light within you. Guide your way on. Guide your way on. Guide your way on. Inhale. and bow to this purity of the infinite that is you. Is you. Is all of us. Bless you all. Talk to you soon. Sat Nam.
Sat Nam.